I'm Brandon,
And I'm Mom.
and welcome to Tansson TV Plus.
Yes, thank you for joining us again today. We've got another exciting episode for everyone, Brandon.
Yes, we're speaking about the TV special.
Auld Lang Syne. And this is by the Peanuts, or Charlie Brown.
Yes, and this is also our very first TV discussion of 2025.
It is. It is. We discovered Charlie Brown. I should say we rediscovered Charlie Brown at the end of 2024. And we have seen on Apple Plus that they have a lot of specials on there, or a lot of just regular 30-minute shows. And of course, for those people familiar with Charlie Brown, most of them do stem around the holidays. And we saw Auld Lang Syne and said, we need to try this one and let's see how it works for the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and Mom, we can go ahead and dive right into it. This is the first one of the Snoopy Presents series for Peanuts and released on Apple TV Plus.
Yes, and this was released much later than, of course, many of the others. This was released in 2021, if I remember correctly. Is that correct, Brandon?
That's correct.
Alrighty. And this particular episode, it actually centers around Lucy and not necessarily Charlie Brown or Snoopy. But in this particular episode, Lucy is very excited about Christmas. And she's more excited because her grandmother is going to be able to come and visit her. She finds out later that her grandmother's not able to come. And she does not have the best of Christmases for herself because her grandmother was not there. But then she did decide that she was going to have a party for, I guess, herself on New Year's Eve. And so she invited all of her friends. She wanted this to be the grandest of events that there was because she wanted to do something that was very, very special and a little bit different. And so she has this party, but her expectations aren't, everything doesn't occur in the expectations that she has set forth. And so she's very disappointed in the party that does occur. And then later on, she comes to realize that her friends are there for her. And so she does apologize, and everyone comes together and sings at the end. And so basically, this episode is in regards to New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Yes, and I will say, too, that this isn't, of course, the first Peanut special that we've seen that has taken place over New Year's.
No, it's not. It's not. We have tackled one other episode in regards to New Year's.
Yes, and that was Happy New Year, Charlie Brown, that we just discussed a few hours ago at this point, by the time you're seeing this.
Yes. And what a difference, I guess, a few decades make.
Yes, we went from, I believe, 1985 or 86 all the way up to 2021. And yes, you can definitely see the difference watching them one right after the other.
Yes, you can. You can. But there were some similarities, Brandon. And one of the things I noticed that I don't know if you noticed, and we're going to have to see if this occurs in other movies also, was the reference to some of the literature or movies that they talk about that are considered, in my eyes, classics. Because in the first one we had, Crime of Punishment. And so in this particular movie, we had Citizen Kane, which is a classic, a movie that people do consider to be a classic.
Yeah, we definitely have that. And I did notice something interesting in going between these two different New Year's specials.
Mm-hmm. And what did you notice?
So starting off with For Auld Lang Syne from 2021, I noticed that we are definitely have firmly set Peanuts within a earlier time period, of course unspecified, but you can see by, of course, sort of like the older TV and the older style things similar to classic Peanuts. But then in the 1980s, Happy New Year's Charlie Brown, they have reference to to films and I believe even video games and anything that can potentially have a reference to the book. And so whereas I feel like in the 1980s we tried to embrace a little bit as to the modern of that day, here we're actually being a little bit more nostalgic.
Yeah, that was really interesting to see. And one of the other things that I noticed with with our technology differences, and it would seem small and kind of petty, but the characters change clothes now. And so, which is kind of fun to see their little personalities coming out in the different outfits that they're wearing.
Yeah, and something that I found that was pretty cool as well is that we get some of our new background characters.
Yes, we do. They're expanding the background characters, and it was so nice to see a variety of different people.
Yeah, and having done a little bit of research after watching the special, is that some of these background characters are actually ones from the original Peanuts comics.
Oh, wow. That's good to know.
Some of these had appeared in very few strips, but it was so interesting to see them. Like, for instance, one of them is a character, Jose, that I don't, to the best of my knowledge, has not been featured in any of the Peanuts films that we've seen, but I did see him in the background. So it's interesting to see some of these characters that we're now able to identify with.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I can't wait till we actually watch some more of the movies or the little specials because I'm sure there are other characters that have their, whether or not they have their own episode, but at least are prominently figured in other episodes that I'd love to see.
Speaking of which, this one does not focus on Charlie Brown.
No, it doesn't. It kind of like a mission. This one focuses on Lucy, and so it's kind of refreshing to have a different perspective on what's going on, and then of course, as we normally see Lucy, we always see her, by herself or in her little booth collecting money, and so it's nice to see that this episode I could show what she was doing with some of the money.
Yeah, and I like that for this that we got a story that focused on Lucy, and even though we see Lucy in a different light, it still feels true to the Lucy that we know and love.
We do, and we still have Linus, who is actually once more gives his thoughts and their profound thoughts to the situation.
But who we don't have, though, is their extra sibling that we saw in Happy New Year, Charlie Brown, but has vanished out of existence from what it seems like in this special.
Yeah, yeah. Well, people kind of come and go in these comic strips.
But nevertheless, though, like I said, we do see some, of course, other background characters. Like we see Pigpen actually gets a whole line or two.
Yeah, Pickering had he said quite a bit here, so which is nice to see.
Yeah, we had so many of these different characters we have seen throughout these different Peanuts specials that we've discussed. But I think this is one of the first times we've actually seen them all in one place since we've started discussing them.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is.
And even, like I said, some of the characters that we don't see as often, such as Shermie, were even in the background as well.
Yes, yeah. And it was nice to see Schroeder again, who did a little bit more than play the piano. But at the same time, it's nice to see him come back and play the piano.
So even though this is from 2021, this was the first Peanut special since 2011.
Wow, what a big difference.
And yeah, so it's definitely interesting to see that there had been practically a decade, without Peanut specials. But I'm so glad that Apple was able to help revive the franchise and start making these specials.
Yes, it is. It is.
And so, Mom, would you be interested in watching the special again?
Yes, I did, and I did. I did see it twice. So yes, it was easy to watch, and it seemed like a quick watch. I believe it was 40 minutes or so, and so yes, so I have no problem at all watching this episode again.
And I guess as an additional question, though, is that would you be interested in watching some of the additional new Peanut specials that have come out over these past 3 years or so?
Yeah, actually, Brandon, I would watch some of the newer Peanut specials. I know there's one of the episodes that we've talked about that we want to talk about a little later, but I know there's so many holiday related ones that I'm sure that we'll be talking about another one on another holiday popping up.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, of course, with the most recent one, I believe we're now at about 51 specials, if all of them are even included in that list.
Yeah, well, that's incredible.
And yeah, and this is our fourth one that we've discussed?
I think it is, Brandon. It is our fourth one.
So yeah, but definitely, let's have more to come. And Mom, I always love doing this with you.
I love doing this with you too, Brandon. Thank you for watching, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you next time.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.